Hello guys, welcome once again to my YouTube channel A to Z Psychology with Obian Chidozie. So we continue with our videos. So today we will start a new course in second year, first semester, experimental psychology, Side 221. Here we'll be looking at everything you'll be needing for the exam. So with my understanding, this exam will have some practicals. So we'll look at that. We'll look at how to write the article. Then we look at other topics. Maybe you'll be seeing your subjective questions. Yes, everything you need for the course, we will run it down. Yes, now, yes. So we are looking at some things you'll be looking at in your subjective exams. So you'll be seeing we understand that we're talking about science here and scientific research. Here we are now measuring on experimental psychology. So you understand that we said in the beginning, perhaps in first year, we understand that there are other ways apart from scientific research on how to get knowledge, or let's say fix belief, or make sense of things around us apart from scientific method. We talked about ways of fixing belief. According to Charles Sanders Peirce, he said we have the authority aspect, authority, yes, intuition, yes, we have apart from authority, intuition, then the research method. The research method is the one we will be talking about, which you are interested in. So authority way of fixing belief is the one that we got from textbooks written by scholars or authority. We call them authority, or those professionals, or our parents, or our pastors. That is that one. Then we have the one that comes from intuition, a priori. That's what it's called. The thing just came, like when reasoning has failed and everything, and the thing just came on, and that is intuition. Yes, but then we now talk about scientific method, which is what we are interested in. In this course, we will still look at some attitude of science we should understand. So remember that when we say scientific method of fixing belief or getting knowledge, we're talking about the one that engages in what we call the 7 steps in scientific research. It has a method before getting a result or getting to a conclusion. There is a method, there is a step which we have dealt with in first year. It's not necessary for this course, but for emphasis, we will remember them: identification of problem, literature review, formulation of hypotheses. Then we talk about selection of sample frame, then collection of data. Then we have analysis, that is 6th, and then the 7th is conclusion and reporting of findings. So this course will take care of that. Before we go touching some research techniques in this in psychology, we would want to remind ourselves, and it's very important for your exam, very important, especially in your subjective questions. So we look at words, attitude of science or concepts of science, like precision, parsimony. We look at words like operationalization. Yes, we have empiricism, we have objectivism. So let's start immediately. So when we say empiricism, when we say something is empirical, we mean it appeals to the senses, observable. Remember, it must be observable before it's a science. If we cannot observe it, how can we test it, or even retest it, or replicate it? If you conduct a research that we cannot retest or replicate, then it's not a science. So it must be empirical. Show us your data and how you analyze the data. It must be empirical. Science, at honest or at most, must be you try to put it in a precise format. Like I gave example, okay, I'm giving example again. Like we have Hooke's law states that so far the elastic limit is not exceeded, that the force is equal to extension. So you find out that you can just mathematically state it: F equal to KE. F equal to KE, where K is a constant, F is the force, E is the extension. You see how precise science has come, that is physical sciences. Although social sciences is still lacking in this level of mathematical precisions, but we should remember that science ought to be precise, and no matter your English and you are speaking grammar and you are trying to make a lot of statements, please try to be precise. The next attitude or characteristics of science we're looking at is parsimony. Please remember, in your exam you will see it. So parsimony simply means as simple as possible. Precision, as short as possible. Parsimony, as simple as possible. Empiricism, appealing to the senses, observable, right? Objectivism, without sentiment, without subjective sentiment or bias, right? So we can be able to generalize it. Generalizability is the key word in psychology. All humans have two legs. It must not be as you feel you will report. It must be something that we can observe, and when we observe it, we will find out, okay, this is an objective point of view that can appeal to a lot of almost the multitude, or apply to almost the total population, right? So that is that one. Skepticism, very important. Skepticism, like I said, biparo, but it refers to the fact that the truth of every knowledge is questionable. A philosophical doctrine that states that the truth of every knowledge is questionable. If it's not skepticism, we would have just understood and swallowed it that atom is the smallest and indivisible part of a matter, not a molecule, yeah? Yes. So of an element, yes. That atom is the smallest and indivisible. Science is skeptical, and that was why they searched and searched, doubted and doubted, until they discovered 3 fundamental particles in an atom that they said that were the smallest. We found the neutron, electron, and the proton, and discovered that atom and these fundamental particles can exist in the ionic states, and that is why till today technology have gotten to the level of ionic states. That is why we're having wireless phones and everything. We don't need to connect or go to a land phone or whatever to have a connection, So science is skeptical. That skepticism is one of the attitudes. Then we have determinism. Determinism, they believe that things have been determined from beginning. It follows the principle of causality. Things don't just happen. When you give birth to a child, that child is determined by either the gene of the mother or the gene of the father, or both. Every of its outcome is either by this genetic or environmentally determined, right? So it's subjective, so no need to go deep into that, but that is what that principle is all about. So we have another one by Karl Popper, very important. That one is, science also used that principle of falsifiability. If your conclusions or your results or findings cannot be falsified, then it's not science. Okay, let's try to understand this one. So let me repeat again or let me paraphrase. If you are entering a research condition only to go and confirm your research, then you are wrong. I can't remember the man in psychology, okay, he did a research and was introducing it and presenting it and publishing the article and everything. So an American went to France and met him, and they went to his lab, and Okay, he was doing something on color, on intelligence, I can't remember, but the main thing was that the American showed him. He said, yes, you see, the color changed. He showed him again. He said, yes, you see, the color changed again. Okay, you see, it changed. You see, it's correct. So he was interested in trying to make sure or prove his theory right. So the American went home and went to go and state against or criticize everything he did, because little did the publisher knew that the American was simply showing him the same thing, the same part and the same thing, and he was giving him different results, confirming his result, you know. So to be a man of science, we go with the attitude or the mindset of trying to prove our research or hypothesis right. Imagine when you have tried everything to prove this laptop wrong, that it's not a laptop, for example. You know, you tried everything. Are you sure it's not a bucket? Are you sure it's not a knife? You have tried everything you could to ensure and that this is not a laptop. Falsifiability. Your interest is not to prove it a laptop. After I can press, after I can open. No. Your interest is to know whether there is in any way this is not a laptop. If you are able to do that, and at the end there is no way to prove this wrong, this is a great result that will stand the test of time. So you see, that is the reason we go with that mindset of falsifiability. By Karl Popper, please remember the name Karl Popper, K-A-R-L, yes, P-O-P-P-E-R, yeah, Karl Popper, or P-A-U-P-E-R, yeah, Karl Popper. So that is for that one. Do we have any other one? Other terminologies we need to know in this course that you'll be expecting your subjective exam includes, we have operationalization here. Operationalization, otherwise known as the Occam's razor, by William of Ockham, O-C-C-A-M, Occam's razor. It is a scientific definition, let me use that word, but it's not what you're expecting in the exam. So we know we talked about literal definition, conceptual definition, right? But when we talk about operational definition this time, this particular one is used in research to denote how a researcher intends to measure what he wants to measure, how you purport to measure a particular construct in a research. For example, I always want to use that example when a psychologist that is interested in behavior comes to social science and say all the social science students are loose girls, that they are loose. You know, this is a hypothesis. Let's assume as a hypothesis. If you want to confirm whether all the girls are loose, first you have to be able to communicate, not only literally explain your constructs in this time now, in this condition, time is loose, right? And not only that, you give us a conceptual definition. The one that will work in this research is what we call operational definition. So, how do you measure this word loose? Is it the one that wear free clothes, that are not using belt? Is it? So you will tell us that the word loose here is simply measured by the number of times a girl smile to a guy, right? Not the other part of loose, like the clothes are not free, not the one that said, okay, come and sit here, not the one that said, I'm thirsty, buy me water, right? You specifically narrowed your definition that you're going to measure it the number of times a girl smiles to a guy, right? This is specifically. So anybody that want to replicate, remember, replicability is part of the attitudes of science. Replicability. If we cannot replicate your work, it is not scientific enough, right? So you tell us, this is how I measured it. This is how I measure it. It's not buying me biscuit. It's not I'm thirsty. It's not hugging. It's not saying hi. Just smiling. This is your measure of the word lose. This is what we call operational definition of term when we're talking about psychology. Yes. So another word we should be looking at in this course, very important for our subjective exams for this course. Another word we should remember, I know we did it sometime in philosophy, is inductive and deductive reasoning. Yes, it's very important for us to go through this course, understanding that too. So inductive reasoning is by Francis Bacon, right? Otherwise known as Baconian principle. Deductive is by Aristotle, or we call it Aristotelian logic. Yes, so very important, and I'm trying to treat it just as a subjective exam. So like I said, inductive, from particular to general. From particular to general. You can say Victor is a uni student. Victor is intelligent. Therefore, all uni students are intelligent. Victor is intelligent. Victor is a uni student. Therefore, all uni students are intelligent. You see, from there you concluded, right? This is from particular to general. But when you go the other way around, like Aristotle said, from general to particular, all uni students are intelligent. Victor is a uni student. Therefore, Victor is intelligent, particular. This is, please, they should not be confused with each other. That is very important to remember. And what again are we going to be looking at? So these are the little things, very important, we should always try to familiarize ourselves with and remember them for the subjective exam. Other topics will come after now, and you should also expect them, very importantly. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.